Right. I got Chrissy here today. We're going to be talking about the 10 top mistakes people make when they're working with a real estate agent to buy a home. All right, Chrissy, we're going to start with number 10. What is number 10?
Number 10, going to an open house without
Mm,
their agent. Bad. There's a sales agent at the open house that works for the builder, right? So a lot of buyers think, okay, well, they're there. Why do I need a real estate agent to go with me? That sales rep works for the seller, for the builder. Um, they do not have a fiduciary duty to you as the buyer. Yes, they need to be fair and honest and helpful, but they don't need to negotiate for you, the buyer. So it's always good to have a real estate agent with you. The other thing is, if you have an agent and you want them to represent you with the builder, if you go to a new build without your agent the first time and that agent does not register you in the office, that builder technically does not have to allow your agent to represent you. So always make sure, bring your agent with you. I still have clients that I tell them this 100 times and they still go rogue and they go without me and they call me and say, "Oh, that's really, you're my agent." That doesn't work. We have to register you. So big mistake that a lot of
and so
buyers
if
make.
you're a buyer and you're listening to that right now, there may be some out there going, "What? I don't know how that hurts me. I understand how it hurts you, but how does it hurt the home buyer in that thing? Like what happens to home buyers in that process when they don't bring their agent?
Well, because, it's kind of like, when you go buy a car, you go and they're like, okay, the sticker price says 40,000. And, you as the buyer sometimes will try to negotiate. A lot of people won't. They'll just pay the sticker price. It's the same thing with a new build. You could go in and the price is $450,000. And, they say, okay, well, we want you to pick your lot. Um, for example, I have clients right now that just signed for a new build, and the lot premium was $20,000 for some, 15,000 for others, 30,000 for others. We were able, oh, and the earnest deposit on some of these new builds. Sometimes just for them to get your lot put on hold and sign the contract because it's, could be 10 months to a year out before it's built. They want 15 to $20,000 earnest deposit. That is non-refundable. Okay. Non-refundable. So I was able to negotiate for them. Most buyers would go in and they're just going to sign and take what that sales rep tells them to do. We were able to get 5,000 off of their lot. We were able to, instead of a $15,000 earnest deposit upon signing, I got them to take $500 so that my buyers had time to pull from their account, their 401k, wherever they pulled it from, and we were able to split it and do $4,500 down at structural when they pick all the exterior parts of the property, and then go in with another 10,000, but not until they go to design center, so that they're not putting it all down at once. And it gave them time to get their money together because I don't know many people that have 15 grand just lying around in the bank. Um, so had I not been with them, they wouldn't have even known to ask those questions and they wouldn't have been able to negotiate that. And even if they had asked, that sales rep may have just told them
Mm.
no. Whereas we as realtors, we know what we can push and what we can get for them. And just, helping follow the process, making sure that, once they're in framing stages, that we get a third party inspector to come and do an inspection on that framed property so that we can make sure that things are going in right. You hear horror stories about new builds, and that's why you need an agent. You need
Yeah.
representation.
So
Yeah,
the
it's
agent
important.
actually helps keep things on the up and up. It's accountability for the builder in the process, especially in the new builds. Obviously, if you're going into a pre-existing home,
Absolutely.
it also helps because they're looking for the
Absolutely.
things that you're just not necessarily looking for if you don't know what you're looking for.
Right. You don't know what you
Yeah.
don't know,
And,
right?
a seasoned professional in the real estate world is going to know, oftentimes you get people that are looking at the aesthetics of a home, not the foundation of it, because the foundation isn't sexy. But, those things,
Exactly.
real estate agents worth their weight in salt. They're they're looking at that stuff.
Yep. Yep. We sure
All
are.
right, so number 2. What is number 2? Alright, I actually let me start that over because I went 10, right? Nah. Let's go with number 9. What is number 9 on the top 10 mistakes home buyers make when working with a real estate agent?
So did I start out with open houses? No, I
You
started out
started
with
out
new
with new
builds,
builds,
right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because
Yes.
open houses is number 10, but that's fine. Okay. So number 9, open houses without representation, without an agent with you. Again, another problem. Yeah, buyers, I'm their agent. I tell them, don't go to an open house without me. They don't understand why. And why is because if you walk into an open house without your agent and you look around and even if you tell the agent that's there, hey, I'm working with an agent. If I'm not there to register you, that agent has implied agency with you, which means if you decide you want to make an offer on that house, that agent does not have to allow me to represent you and write the offer. They can tell you, I'm sorry, but I have implied agency. They came in without you. And so in turn, I am going to do dual agency. I'm going to represent the buyer and represent the seller to get this deal done. They do not have to let me to be part of it. So it's like kind of the same thing as the new build. In an open house, make sure your agent is with you. Okay. A lot of buyers say, why do you want to bother you? Because they're, last minute coming home from the grocery store. They see an open house flag and a fancy, shiny new house and they want to pull in. It's our job to be available to run over there and show you that property or walk that property with you. If we can't do it right that second, bear with us. We'll make time to schedule a private showing. Don't go in without us. I know it's tempting. Oh, it's so tempting. I have clients that still do it. I say, don't do it without me. And they still call me and go, hey, I just saw this open house. So yeah, implied agency is kind of
Well,
a big
and talk
deal.
a little bit about
What I
why,
don't want to do.
dual agency in that regard, it's good for the agent because they get both sides of the commission, but it actually hurts both sides of the buyer and the seller. Why is that?
So I've done some dual agency transactions and I feel like I do pretty good with those. And here's what I was taught by my coach who, she still coaches me and is incredible, an incredible agent, but she always taught me, with your buyer or your seller, when you're just representing one side, you're their coach, right? So you are telling them, here's what we're going to do. Here's what my thought is of how we can get a better deal on this. But when you're doing dual agency, you're representing both sides, right? So you're not the coach anymore. Now you're the referee because you can't favor one side over the other. So you become the referee. Okay, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, you want $450,000 for your property. Okay, Mr. Buyer, what would you like to offer? And then, whatever that is, 425. Okay. And if that buyer says, well, what do you think? What do you think I should do? I'm sorry, but I'm representing both of you. I can't tell you what I think that you should do. Here's the comps in the neighborhood. So you can give them facts. Here's the comps. You decide what you want to offer and you let me know. I will give it to the seller. And you kind of do that back and forth. You are literally not coaching them, not telling them what you think at all. So, it can be very easy, very simple, but if there's any kind of issues, a buyer or a seller could potentially leave that transaction feeling like they weren't represented. And that is the worst case scenario in that. I've never had that happen. I've been able to navigate that really well, but there's some agents that I've seen try to navigate it and they don't
Yeah, I
do such
think
a
if
good
I
job.
were an agent, I would
Yep.
rather just, get with another agent to represent that one of our clients and then take the finder's fee.
Right.